All right, this thing is already on, so I guess we're live. Welcome everybody to the third episode of LightShare podcast. Today we are here to discuss a few questions that you guys submitted. Thank you for that. So, well, this is a weird intro, man. Help me, guys. I'm here with Dom and hello everybody and welcome.
Hey guys.
Don't get used to my face because I'll stop using that on the next episode, but here I am in case you thought that was just a voice in the background.
Well, I'm here with Dom and Andre. And what do we do, guys? We just go through them just straight away, or you guys want to say something else, like how was your week, or I don't know, everything's fine?
Everything's always fine here.
Yeah,
it's always fine.
I can just start to answer those questions because I'm excited to see what people were thinking about watching this episode.
Okay. Yeah. Then, well, the first one I have here is about expectations for a junior concept artist portfolio and how to know when you are ready. So what do you guys think about that? How do you know when you're ready? That's a good one, right?
If I can start with that, it's hard to... I think that knowing when you are ready, more where I will focus this answer from, because the thing about junior portfolio is that I never had a portfolio that was guided towards being a junior artist at a studio. From the beginning, I was very specialized in vehicles and props, so maybe I was not the best option for a studio to hire. But the thing about knowing when you are ready is because after maybe a year and a half doing art, I was starting to get small proposals of clients, people sending emails inquiring about prices. And even though a lot of them did not quite work out, the fact that people were starting to contact me to hire, to do work, was when I started to understand that, okay, now I'm kind of ready to start tackling work more. And that's when you start to balance when you have what's your time to study and keep developing your portfolio, and what's the time that you have to dedicate towards these smaller job offerings that they're probably not quite what you expect. They are probably not quite in the field that you wanted to work on the first time. I had to get jobs that were more guided towards industrial design because I was posting industrial design sketches and stuff like that. So I think knowing when you are ready, it's when those proposals start to arrive. And then you will end up facing a new challenge, which is knowing proposals you should accept and which you should live by. But at the moment that those start coming in, okay, I'm at least on the right path. I don't think there's 100% time when you are now I'm 100% ready to do this, or I'm 100% not ready. There's no such a point of one day you wake up and you are ready to go. I don't know if that's
it's definitely not something that happens overnight or anything like that. It's something it's like an organic process, I guess.
Yeah. I think if you can do the job, you can hit the requirements of a concept art job, and they say you're ready for that, then obviously you're ready for the job. And most concept art jobs require that technical skill. So if you can do call-out sheets or solve the company's problems or the studio's problems, then you're already an asset to whatever company that you want to shoot for. So, in my experience, it's what can you offer to the company that will help their product get launched, in a sense. So whatever skills you need to work towards, then you work on those skills to help the company. Yeah.
Well, that sounds quite professional. You have to be pretty aware of your level to know
that's
how much value can I provide this company with and stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, in my experience, if you just focus on whatever it is you're doing, something that you're really passionate about, then you can get selected for that specific job for what you do best. Not necessarily, oh, I have to do call out sheets, I have to do all this line work and stuff. You can just do what you do really good, and those headhunters will find you a lot easier. So you get selected for what you love doing. In my experience, at least.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like I don't know. Adrian haven't shared his thoughts yet, so I'll wait for that.
Don't worry. Say whatever you wanted
Yeah,
to
the thing
say.
about
I'll go after.
I wanted to I was wondering like where this question comes from, you know, because if you're wondering that for yourself, it's usually because you're not quite getting uh, the job offerings that you thought you would get, or maybe you were applying and not get answers from the studios. So it's usually in those positions that you start wondering if you're ready or not, and then you wonder, like you will ask people, hey, when do you know, like when in your career did you know that you were ready? And this thing that Don was saying, like becoming an asset and everything else, I think a way that you can know if you're ready or not, it's go through your portfolio and see if at least every piece shows one side of like what you can offer to a studio, right? So if you have one piece that is just call out sheets for props that are in the scene that you designed, then that's one thing that the studio will look for. And if you have environments, that's like one of the specializations that's more common on the industry, right? A lot of environment designers out there. So you guide your portfolio towards what you want in terms of what you really like to do, so that in that specific field you are known for that, but then like you go through what the studio needs and you try to incorporate both things in your portfolio, right? So as an example, I'm a vehicle designer and I focus pretty much solely on that and on props, but props are kind of a secondary specialization. And in my portfolio I try to not only include the vehicle renderings but some breakout sheets as well, because sometimes the studios need that. And maybe if I didn't have those, the studios would just think that I was an illustrator instead of a designer, because they don't see the process behind it. And I guess like if you don't know if you're ready or not, look at your portfolio and see if the skills that you need and that the studio needs for you to have are there in your portfolio, or if you at least have them. Because if you know how to do the things that you need to do, but they are not in your portfolio, it's pretty much the same thing as you didn't know that. People will only think that you know how to do what they see you doing.
I guess
So
your
that's a good
portfolio is like a kind of like a demo of your skills, you know? Like, hey, this is what I can do, and I can keep doing this for you, right? If you hire me. So if it's okay for both ends, it'll happen. But if they see no matches between what you have to offer and what they would need you to do, then I guess it won't happen. But in my opinion, you're never really ready, right? It's always going to be that way. You're never ready for anything. It's not that, as you said earlier, like you wake up one day and you're like, I'm ready, you know? It's never like that. It's always like this situation in which you're kind of facing this cliff and you have to take the jump, right? And you don't, it's like you can't, right? You need that extra push. And that I feel it's sometimes coming from outwards, from it's external, like external validation or something, someone saying something to you about your work, like, hey dude, you should work for, you know, this and that, and you're like, wow, do you think I'm that good? And you know, sometimes you're not aware of your own let's say level, and I think sometimes you just gotta push yourself somehow and say, you know what, I already have the answer of no. Now I'm going to go get the yes, right? So what's the worst thing that can happen for, you know, just asking? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Just submitting your portfolio and trying to see if it works out. of course, don't do it if you clearly see it's not a match, right? Like you do realistic art, like pure realism, you're sending your portfolio with realistic pieces to a stylized type of game company or something. I mean, yeah, they sure see that you can do like this amazing realistic art, but what about what we do here, you know? Like we want to see this stuff. So as you said, it's kind of like each piece from your portfolio should contain like the essence of your skills. As I said, kind of like a demo, right? It could be like like an illustration, and then you could have like breakdowns, concept art style sheets, you know, breakdowns from elements contained within that illustration. So this way you're also showing like this range of skills you have about, you know, an understanding of you know, it could be anything, anatomy, lighting, perspective, and all those things combined. And then you also have like this taste for design, and you're showing that all together, you know, in your portfolio. You never know if you're ready or not, right? You just compare your work to some other people that work there. You try to reach out to those artists and perhaps even ask them about, in case they ask for an art test, right? Like what things do they usually ask for and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's up to you, right? But that's the way I see it.
Asking people that are in a position that you wanted to be in is a huge part of it. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, unless like you are a jerk in the first interaction with someone. They will not be a jerk with you either. So
I forgot about that. That's an interesting and important part. Yeah. Like be nice. You know, no one wants to work with a jerk.
Yeah, being ready is not only being ready in terms of technical skills, right? I think that the more I work, the more I realize that the technical skill is something that is learned. So you can teach somebody to do that, but it's very hard to teach somebody to be a decent person. So sometimes it's very likely that maybe not the best artist will be hired, but the one that has the best combination of being a good person and being a good artist, right?
Yeah, it's like a balance, right?
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. Maybe you have an amazing guy that is a jerk, and no one will hire him.
Yeah.
So try to be ready, like in a complete of the world. Like be a ready person for that job, not a ready artist, not a ready technique.
Yeah, that's exactly true. I think working more on personal skills is really important to the main job aspect itself. It's not just your skills, it's the people you work with are going to be working with you for a while. So you need to have that good personality so people can,
knowing how to take feedback as well. It's very important. Right? Have that emotional detachment from your piece. I think it's crucial to work in this field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be open to
I'm sorry, like I interrupted you.
No, sorry. Be open to critiques and stuff. You know, they want to see how you react to critiques and feedback, and I don't know. It's a bunch of things, but yeah, it's basically you just have to be self-aware of your level and your pieces of art, and if you're not able to do that, just talk to your favorite artists, talk to your friends and ask them about it. Hey dude, what do you think about this? Like, do you think I can make it? Everybody will tell you that you can make it, right? Like, no one wants to bring you down. But what's cool from reaching out to professionals is that, especially if you don't have if you don't know them previously, right? They will tend to be like really honest, right? They would just say like, dude, your drawing sucks. Like, you're never gonna make it there. You gotta improve that.
That should be feasible.
Yeah, if I would ever tell someone you're never gonna make it, but it's still a while for you to make it. It would be more likely.
I mean, you're never gonna make it if you keep down this path, right? You gotta change that a little bit and improve this, improve that. It's just an expression, but
I use that as motivation when someone says that.
Exactly,
So
it depends what kind of person you are,
Yeah.
right? Like, you have really thin skin, like you're gonna be like really hurt by those words. But you can also use that as motivation. Like, man, I'm gonna prove this
use that pain
guy,
to
I'm
like
gonna prove him wrong.
propel you forward.
Right? Yeah. So who knows? Maybe a year later, you'll look back and say, "Oh man, this is from the day they said I couldn't make it, and look at what I do now." You know, it's like, oh man, such a difference. It's a way of tracking your own work.
If anyone is thinking that someday that goes away, it doesn't. The other day, I just restarted a bunch of pieces that I was like in the middle of doing, just because I realized that they were not good enough. So like, I spent like countless hours on them, and I just threw them away because I received some feedback on those, and like the feedback was not as good as I expected. So I just like, okay, so if they did not cause the reaction that I wanted them to cause, they are not good enough. Now it's time to throw them away and move on, you know, like start again. That's the process. And I did that like 100,000 times during the process, so there's no problem in doing that again if we're not emotionally attached to the piece.
Yeah.
I wanted to make an incision here. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I want to say that you shouldn't focus on kind of trying to impress this person, you know, rather impress yourself, you know, kind of, I don't know how to describe this. It's a feeling of overcoming your own struggle, right? Like, I'm bad at this thing, but now I'm at a point where I feel like I've made some progress. I can clearly see it. Plus, you know, people I've been reaching out to are validating this, so I must be going on the right path, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, don't try to focus on impressing this person who said, "Oh, your line art sucks," or "Your lighting is shit, man. Like, I'm gonna prove my whole life is gonna be devoted to prove this guy wrong." No, man, don't.
I don't think that's about like a single person, you know. But if you're already having some doubts about certain pieces, certain drawings, and someone comes along and proves that like your doubts were proved right, and maybe they're not as good as you wanted them to be, I don't think that's bad to like take that opinion seriously. And I think like, okay, so now with the knowledge that I gained to try and do these pieces and failing at them, I can like start them over a really decent one. And it doesn't need to come from above, you know, like I can show you guys my piece if you don't react the way that I wanted you to. So that's a sign for me that I did not quite achieve what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It can come from your peers and from like everybody. Of course that you need to have some validation methods, so it's not like every single opinion that matters to you. But I don't think that's wrong to think about which opinions should matter to you. I think like...
Because I think, I was going to say, you should take criticism with a grain of salt. Like, knowing which criticism is good for you or which criticism helps you. Because not all criticism might help bring you to where you need to go. You know, they might think that it's good for you, but you might think something else, which is more towards your path or more towards your goals. So take that information and store it for future use, whatever you need to use. And if you need to use it, use it. If you don't, then toss it aside or something.
Yeah, right. Like, especially depends on who's telling you this, kind of who's giving you the feedback, right? Especially if it's like a non-art related person, right? It might seem quite obvious, but sometimes for some reason subconsciously we don't really make the difference, you know, like it matters a lot to us that this guy or this girl said this to us about the art we showed them. Let's face it, our family, especially if there's non-artists in the family, will always look at our work and say, "Oh, this is a beautiful drawing," right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. They're always going to see like, "Hey man, this is amazing," right? And then you show that to someone who's really into this and is like, "Oh, well, it's something, you know, but you can work it out a little bit more." You're like, oh, what? My whole life is a lie. I thought it was good. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much. I don't know if you guys want to add something else to it.
I think like we went pretty far in terms of the first
Maybe we can
question.
move on to the next one, which is
Yeah.
concept art versus 3D modeling. That's all I got. That's all that's the entire question, right? Concept art versus 3D
I'm wondering
modeling.
if that's okay. I'm wondering if that's concept art or using 3D modeling in concept art.
Yeah,
I don't
think
know
the
if it's
Well,
either
let's make
question.
our own interpretation. I'm assuming
Okay.
that it has to do with 3D modeling within concept art, right? So 3D modeling used for concept art. Because if it has to do with, 3D modeling, like raw 3D modeling for production and stuff, that's quite a different world, I think. Because for concept art, for
Yeah.
instance, you don't
That's not who I
need
am.
those. What?
That's not who I am.
No,
I
that's.
wouldn't have any knowledge on the subject.
Ah, dude,
I can talk a
especially.
little bit about 3D modeling for production, in terms of career path and everything, if you guys want to, before we tackle like the subject as in 3D modeling inside of concept art.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think like if you want, it's pretty much a different career path. So the person needs to know that the first thing, right? But as with everything in life, it's not a permanent decision. So if you start to go through 3D modeling as in a production kind of way, and you decide midway that you want to do concept art, those skills will not be wasted. So you don't have to worry about that at all. But when it comes to career, you have to remember that for concept design, where actually, and or concept art, depends on where you are, they'll call it something different. But you are thinking about the design of the objects, the design of the scenes, the design of everything, you know. So you're really thinking that through. And your job is to give you an idea for the rest of the production. And when it
Not the
comes to
final
being a
asset.
3D model, what?
Not the final asset. I mean, it's just the idea, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then like on the 3D side of things, it's usually the final asset or at least a basis for the final. It depends, right? The more you grow up in the rankings of 3D modeling, I think the more you will have an impact on the final asset itself. So if you are like just starting at it, it's very likely that you'll get those more mundane tasks as retopology and everything else. That it's not as design impactful as a, let's say, a 3D modeler does. But throughout the whole process, your job will be more of a technician and bringing that idea to life, right? So it's not less creative, because some people tend to think that because you're just producing a model, you are somehow less creative than the person that created the idea. But you have to remember that in concept art, we leave a lot on the table for the rest of the production to decide on, right? So even as a 3D modeler, even though you are very much a technical guy, you have to worry about polygons, you have to worry about topology, you have to worry about the textures, and all of
You're the
like
guy
you can research.
executing the idea, right?
Yeah,
So
you are the guy executing that. So you have a lot of power into how that idea comes out of the of your hands, you know. And sometimes, like I've heard cases on some productions that 3D modelers ended up designing a couple of things as well, because it's not everything 100% of the what is needed that needs concept art. So, like I if you are in doubt of which career you want to go through, I would say to research it a little bit and don't go tackling things as if one is more creative than the other. So just like try both, see what you like to do the most in terms of your production day to day, and then you can choose like which path you really want to dive deep into.
that's what I wanted to say that I missed on the previous one as well, on the previous question, that you have to try it, try it. See if you like it. See if it works. If it doesn't, that's it. But don't
Yeah.
make your choices based on what other people have told you, right? Like, hey, does this work? Is it cool? Is it fun? Nah, man, sucks. Maybe it turns out it's it's your jam, and you just ignored it because someone else said so. That's quite, I don't know. It's sad, you know. Sometimes it's even good because it turns out it wasn't really for you, and this person you really trust have saved you from, you know, a lot of time wasting your time doing something you didn't like, and maybe you invested that time in something else. But most of the times it's something that's entirely up to you. Like, you really have to try it on your own and see if you like it, especially if you are young, you know, and don't have like so many responsibilities as later in life. Say you still live with your parents, you don't have bills to pay or anything, you just can devote your entire time to experiment with different industries, different pipelines, different software, different techniques, learning as much as you can.
Yeah, I think you should never waste that time. Use that time wisely and put it to use as much as you can, especially, you know, if you're not having all these responsibilities. Use that time to invest in your skills and, you know, bring value with those skills to people. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and also remember, like, no skill goes wasted, you know. So if you spent like 5 years trying to be a 3D artist, and now you decide that you want to be a concept artist, for sure those skills will be good for you.
Yeah,
Those
right.
3D
Everything
skills
adds
that you
up.
build up over time. Yeah.
That's
Like,
that's
even
what
things that you do outside of art add up. So like a
absolutely,
production
dude.
method will add up even more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's my takeaway from this, from my studies in graphical design. It was mostly devoted to logo design and photography, filmmaking, and stuff like that. And I don't know, it was fun. And you might say, but it has nothing to do with concept art, you know? Well, it turns out we use a lot of that theory, you know, here. It's, to me, I see this like a combination of all those fields together, you know? You have to understand about, you know, if you work in animation, for instance, you know, you have to understand like storyboards, pacing, everything, dude. Lighting from photography, different camera lenses, because you have to simulate those in your concept. You got to work with a lot of that stuff, and as you said, like, everything adds up. Even the stuff that you think is not really related to your particular field, it'll turn out it was for something. You know, you did it for something. It was meant to happen, man.
For sure. Yeah.
So
Can you guys recap me? Because my Discord is shut down. I lost like
yeah, I saw you
I saw
like
a small
blinking
blink
for a
of-
second. Yeah, same. Okay, so we're now on the question about concept art versus 3D modeling. Andrea just gave us like some of his insights.
just like the last 2 minutes of what you guys were talking about.
Oh, it was 2 minutes? Okay, I thought it was a second, dude.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah, it just blinked
so
a second for us, I think.
it was basically
really?
just me saying the same thing for like 2 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it's just like Adrian spitting out a bunch of nonsense. Don't worry, man. It's not
A bunch
important.
of
Okay.
nonsense. No, yeah,
We're gonna have to use Adrian's footage then. For this.
it's okay. It's all right. Yeah,
I think
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe if you give your insight onto that.
Yeah, do you
because
have
we
something to
started
comment
moving
on?
slowly from, like, I talked a little bit about 3D for production, and then Adrian was making the bridge for that as a concept artist.
So you're saying using 3D in production,
Yeah.
or like in my experience, or
Yeah, maybe give us your experience as a concept artist. What's the role of 3D?
Yeah,
What
how
to
do you
Because
how do you relate
we
both
did not
worlds?
quite get. Yeah.
so usually they have the 3D modeler on the team, so they will give me a 3D block out to work with, and then that's my job as the concept artist to paint on top of their 3D block out. So sometimes I won't do like the heavy modeling. They'll do the modeling for me. So maybe I'll build a scene in SketchUp or 3ds Max, and it might just be basic primitives that I use, but I'm not going to go all into the sculpting and all the intricate details. I mostly paint all my scenes on top of 3D. I don't really use the lighting setup in the 3D render. I would paint my own light on top of the 3D and the color and everything. So yeah, I don't utilize 3D as much in my workflow, but if someone can do it for me, that will help me out so I can imagine the scene a lot better. In my experience.
But whatever is provided to you, the 3D scene and stuff, is it like optimized, or is it like perfect, or are there just like a bunch of gray boxes, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, it's mostly just gray color like throughout the primitives. That's what I work with. It's just like black background. I have to put in the lighting myself if I need to in the 3D program, but I don't really mess with that. I just light it myself because I'm 3D illiterate. So
sorry guys. We've got visitors. Sorry. Give me a second. I'll edit this out. Dude, what happened? He fell?
Dom just like left the chat because your dog was scaring him.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's a scary beast. Sorry, guys. It's Sunday afternoon. There's sudden visitors I wasn't expecting.
Actually, like, jumping back to the question, Dom reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about when it comes to concept art and 3D art. You gotta remember that if you're working on a smaller studio, maybe you'll have to do more than one job, right? So, like, I was working at this indie studio, and the guy that I was working closely to was the game designer. And the way that we worked was he would get these gray boxes and plan out the level, and I would have to do both the role of a concept artist and 3D artist and go over those blocks and rough blockouts of levels and like design them out and at the same time model them out to be on the final game. So you gotta remember that if you have 3D skills as a concept artist, you can be more useful to production if you want to work on a smaller studio. Or maybe you are in a country where the game industry is not as developed as like in the US or North America. So those skills can come in handy. You know, like you have the knowledge, even if it's not your thing and what you really want to do, remember that those skills can be useful, and maybe it would make it easier for you to get a job if you're really in the need of a job, right? Then that can make it easier.
Yeah,
that's true.
Kick out your career.
Yeah, I started out doing the same thing. I was working at a indie company. It was just a team of 2 people, and one was an engineer and the other was like a student of some organization at the university down the street. So they brought me on board, and I had to do all the UI stuff too, and just planning out like a rough draft of what the game could look like and different assets, different illustrations and stuff, and put it all together for them. So I was the only artist on the team, so I had to do everything with that small studio. Eventually the game didn't come to life, but I gained a lot of experience from it. Different jobs within the pipeline. So
experience is very valuable, you know. Like if you can start your career like earlier, just getting jobs that are not exactly what you want, that can be very useful in terms of the knowledge that you gain about the industry and the pipelines of making a game.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Dude, I can relate to what both of you said, because my first job as a concept artist contained the role of a 3D modeler as well, right? Unexpectedly, like I didn't know. I thought I was only going to do like 2D art, or at least 2D based art, right? And I ended up having to become a 3D modeler. You know, I had to sculpt creatures, characters. I had to learn how to bake the textures, how to texture them, how to basically prepare like a final asset for the game engine, you know. And it wasn't easy. I was the only one in the team, the only artist. And I had to do everything, right? It was an indie studio, and yeah, that's how indie studios, indie projects are. You have to be like, what do they say, that like jack of all trades, right? You have to do a little bit of everything. And well, what I can say from my experience is that for concept art, I never really had the pleasure to have to hand in my my 3D assets, right, to the client. Like they never really ask for that. I don't know how it really is. Like, what's your experience with that? But I don't think they really need your assets as a concept artist, because that's what they have 3D modelers for, right? Maybe there are lots of circumstances, right? Lots of different situations, and maybe there's a time where they say, hey, please give us also the 3D files, because we're gonna hand them to the 3D modelers so they can save some time or something. I don't know how it works. Again, I never had that pleasure, but from my experience, I've been using 3D modeling not as much as I liked or not as much as I wanted, because I'm still learning. I like Blender a lot, and for some reason, I had this interview once where they kind of dished it, like what kind of 3D software do you know how to, like, which 3D software do you use? And I'm like, well, I like Blender. I'm trying to learn Blender. And they're like, oh, Blender? Do you know anything like Cinema 4D or Maya? Or I'm like, no. And that kind of gave me this perspective of how the industry perceives these free programs, right? But now I think this was like, 2 years ago, I think. Now I think this is changing a lot. Now I think Blender is really, dude, every big name in the concept art industry is like using this program and making like tutorials and courses for it. So it must be.
Dude, Jama changed the game for Blender.
Dude, he created some sort of
without
a cult,
him, man.
the cult of Blender.
I think despite the fact that, of course, he popularized it, I think that Blender did it a lot for himself, like itself, because it's a really good program that they focused on making, like, other than the UI of the 2.79 and before version, like, the program was very good already, like very easy.
It looks much better, this new version as well.
Now, like, it has that visual appeal,
like,
right?
visually,
You used to look at the program and thought that it was made by children, but now you look at it and think, oh, damn, this is used by a studio. And if you compare the UI, let's say with Maya or something, it looks much cleaner than Maya, so it's less scary for a first-time user, right?
Dude, I had to use 3ds Max once for, it was not retopology, it was like rigging, like skinning the character, so you apply different, I forgot what's it called, like weights on the skin, like weight mass for how it deforms and stuff like that. Dude, I only did that once in my lifetime, right? I don't want to do it again. It's so complicated from my point of view, right? Like, first time I turned on, I think it was Maya this time, right? I'm like, I gotta learn this. This is cool, I can rig the characters and I can do, we're indie developers, like, we have to know how to do everything. Dude, I'm like, sorry guys, I'm gonna focus on, design, drawing, painting and stuff. You guys do this, right? Because it felt to me like a spaceship, right? Like, I'm suddenly in this cockpit.
Then I would like to do that.
There's a whole bunch of buttons everywhere. I'm like, nah, fuck this shit, dude. I'm not doing this. And much respect.
And
I can't do it.
We gotta remember, like, there are people that are specialized in doing hair. There are people that are specialized in doing material. There are people that are specialized in doing rocks. Like, no matter what it is that you like, like if you dive very deep into that and enjoy yourself during the process, you will find your niche in the industry, right? So if you listen to us talking about how we are not quite the 3D experts or the 3D prodigies that someone wants to be, but you find yourself enjoying the 3D process a lot more than the ideation and the conceptualizing of things, go for it. Like, it will only benefit you to have a career that you actually enjoy, other than like listen to people that are not on the same pathway that you.
Yeah, I think honestly, at the end of the day, you should invest in what you want to do, because that's where your skill will shine the most. Instead of doing something just to get into the job, like, focus all your skill specifically on what comes naturally to you, at least, and capitalize on it so you can be a badass artist.
I think there's a lot of people that get carried away by the fact that they believe that they should be chasing this type of particular skill because they know from what they've heard that that's... Dom, are you still there? I think Dom just left us. He left us. He'll come back.
It's okay. Continue with the...
Yeah, I was just saying that they will think that this is going to pay off better. Like, this is going to get them a better job that has like a better payoff, right? And they might not like it, even if it's good, right? Like, you're not fulfilled by this job you have, right?
Yeah.
But it's good because, look, salary is nice, but it's like, from my point of view, it's not worth it. The amount of unfulfillment and stress caused by that, it's like, nah, I'd rather do something that I enjoy doing, even though it's a much more, it can turn to be a much more complicated path or anything like that, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, on that note, like, you can always remember that there are a lot of people that chase art on their like free time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing that should stop you to do that, even if you already have an art job. So let's say that you work with art and you are a 3D artist, you really want to be a concept guy. There's nothing stopping you from doing like concept on the side and building your portfolio towards that and using your 3D skills towards that goal as well, while you make your living with 3D modeling. Like, if you're not 100% satisfied, but you still need the job for the money, continue with the job. Like, don't quit the job just because you are not satisfied with it. Sustaining a little bit of insatisfaction just to keep you alive is not wrong, Like, of course, that if you don't need the job, it's an easier jump to make. But if you still need it, dude.
That's like the other side of this perspective, right? Like, you gotta know your situation and decide.
Decide. Hello?
Hello? I can hear you guys.
Dom, you fell for a while, right? I was just making like an extension of your comment. Like, you have to chase what you like to do and just don't do what you don't like to do, right? And we were now talking about like the other side of this point of view, right? Which is, maybe it's worth it to kind of struggle a little bit more with this job that you don't particularly like or you're not really fulfilled by, just for the sake of the time that it brings, the time and the resources it brings to you to kind of push your dream, on the side, right? Yeah. It's kind of like a parallel thing, because one day you might be able to kind of... Whoa, just heard myself there for a while.
Yeah, I heard you like inside of my brain,
Whoa. Okay, so what I was just saying is that, at some point you will be... There's going to be like a payoff for sure. Like, if you keep going down this road that you like, dude, you're like
and I don't know
2 inches away from
like
the diamonds,
fulfilled. with your day job, even if you are working what you like.
Yeah, you have to work some odd jobs in order to. It's almost like having a side hustle. So your day job is what brings in income, and your passion is your side hustle. That's the thing you're working towards to, like your purpose, your goal. So
And one day
having
one
that
will override the other, right?
Yeah, eventually. Because for me in my situation, as of right now, I wouldn't mind working a day job and just cultivating my IPs on the side until, they become a success or something, which
The way
Journey to the East
the way that
sold, so
it's different.
that was it.
Like, I don't think that I will ever have the need to leave a day job, to just pursue my project, because I don't feel 100% like fulfilled with my projects as well. I think to me it's maybe 50-50. If I'm not doing one or the other, I'm not like really feeling well with myself. But then if I have a day job, and a day job in the sense that like it's still art related, I'm still doing concepts, right? It's not just like a random day job, but that plus my personal project makes me feel fulfilled. So I don't see like the need in the future to leave a studio or something like that. My ideal life would be having both instead of like sustaining myself with my personal project. So like what I'm trying to say by saying this is that people need to find for themselves a little bit. You can learn from other people's experiences, but at the end of the day, it will be like you realizing for yourself and getting to know yourself and what your needs are, where you feel like more comfortable and happy with your career and your art.
Yeah.
It's kind of chaotic, right? Like
Yeah,
there's no guideline or anything. There's not like a book that says this is how you live through life, right? You have to go this way. You kind of find out you don't like it there. You go this way, and then you realize it was actually better that other way. You kind of try to combine both, and you come to a conclusion. And this is all achieved through time, like a bunch of trial and error until you realize what works for you, I guess.
I think like the one guideline that you can have in your life is whatever it is that you do, like work really hard for. I think that's the one thing that because let's say that right now I change my mind and I think that I want to be a 3D artist, then I will do 100% that. And if down the line I change my mind again and don't want to do that anymore, because I trained myself to do things 100%, no matter what I put my mind to, I will be able to achieve that. So it's like there will be no wasted time, and you like don't be afraid to give it your all, even though if you know that you can change your mind later down the line. It's just like learn how to work hard. It's the one guideline that I can give you.
Yeah. This is still the concept art versus 3D.
Yeah,
talk,
guys,
right?
I was just going to tell you that I'm looking at I'm looking at the questions, and it seems like we can just bridge from one to another because they seem pretty related, and they all seem like a continuation of the previous one. So we could bridge onto the working for free question. So
yeah,
that's a big one.
don't work for free. Simple answer.
When to work for free, when to not work for free. Do you think you should never work for free? Do you think there are some exceptions?
Working for free has never bode well for most people, I feel, unless you're donating something. Then that's probably the only time you'd work for free. But if it's
for
something
free,
you've
we
invested
are
into,
talking about the economical aspect, right? The financial aspect of this. Like, for free means no money. But can it mean some other type of reward, like exposure? Or
I think that's where
I don't know.
I steer away from like the maximum of never working for free. To me, I don't think that you should work for free, but I also don't think that you should work for money. I think that down what really comes down to it, it's you should work for value, and that value can come in form of money, but it also can come in different ways. So, like when you have a job offer or something like that, and if it's like someone telling you to work for them for no money, then you gotta understand what's the value that they're giving you, because you are giving them value. Even if you're starting out and you are just like doing drawings and sketches, you are giving them value, and understand that and know what your value is, so you can at least make a just trade-off with them. You know, like if I'm working for you for free, you are offering me back the same or more value than what I'm offering you. And if I'm offering you my ideas, the things that will bring your IP to life, your project to life, you should be giving me something that will be equally as important in my life. And if that is if it's not for money, you know. Now let's say that you are starting to get those offerings that involve money, and one time you get one offering that like blows your mind with the amount of money that they're offering you, which will come sometime, you know, like you get a client that pays more than every client that you had so far, and now you think that your value is that, and the next client down the line, it's someone that doesn't have a lot of money, so they cannot pay you the same. Now what? Like you're starting to think that your value is that big amount, or are you like?
Or it can also happen the other way
back.
around, you know? Like if you start low, you can stay low. That's pretty dangerous, I think. It's a dangerous thing to work for free, because there's a very thin line, man, of you're walking on a dangerous edge there. You know why? Because it might seem like it might become your reality at some point that your work is like not worth much money, you know, so you're okay with charging less.
That's what I was going to say.
Right?
Yeah.
Say
like
it.
People will think that you don't value your work as much, so they might take advantage of you for, he's like, oh, this guy can just work for me for free, so
and the worst part is that you'll feel like you can't step up anymore, you know. It's like no one wants to buy work from me anymore, you know, because they think it's too expensive. But look at that guy, look at this guy, you know, look at what they're charging. Like they don't complain about them, you know, about their prices. Why they complain about my prices, you know?
Right.
So I guess, yeah, you have to kind of set up like a bar at the beginning.
Yeah, I wanted to add that you should only work for free unless you genuinely want to work for free. But don't work for free because I'm doing it because I'm being nice or something. You know?
No, see, I was orienting this question towards a more, like an audience, probably something like someone who's starting out or something, you know? But I'm realizing that this could also apply at some point in during your career. You know, once you've become like a professional, there might be some opportunities for you that you can't pass, where you will probably have to work for free. It's like a little sacrifice and then like a big reward, you know? So I don't know. Yeah. That's something you have to value on your own. You have to evaluate by yourself. But yeah, I think as an overall takeaway from this, do not work for free, right?
Yeah, I think like it would not be wise to work for free, but don't work only for the money as well. Think about value, because that's what really matters. As an example, like if you are in a position that you have a day job as a concept artist, and on the side you are developing your personal project, it might be some point that you get a client, a freelance client that you would do on the side, and then that's the time when you need to decide what you value the most, like the client that is paying you on the side or your personal project. Because for your personal projects, you are working for free, you know. So it's like, should you work for free for yourself instead of getting that client? What's more valuable to you at that moment? So if you stop thinking about only the money, despite the fact that the money has value, and you start thinking about what value that each project brings to your life, I think it will make it easier for you to make decision and decide like what's worth more for me at this particular moment.
Yeah. Don't work for free unless you're not doing art full time. Let's say if art is your career, you should never work for free. But if you're like an engineer or something and you're doing art, you're already making like money from the engineer job, then you can do whatever you want with your art.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think like the way that you say this is just because if you already have your life set up and
yeah, that's why I was going to say that it depends on your circumstances, right? If you're just starting out, you have everything else covered up, you just want to improve in this career, right? Then maybe it's okay to work for free in the beginning, but later on, you will just simply feel. This reminds me of my very earliest steps, right? When I was charging like ridiculous low amount of money for something that took a lot of effort from me, right? And
yeah,
I was working through this, and I was like, dude, this is not worth it, man. I can't charge this low. I mean, I'm not even motivated anymore, right? Like, yeah, I do love this work, the work I'm doing and stuff like that, but the reward is like, I'm so stupid. Why did I say that, right? So you'll feel it. That's for sure. You'll feel like, dude, this is not enough. Like, I have to raise the bar or something. Especially
you just lose motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you will clearly see like an improvement in your own work, right? Like, this is not the same type of level of work I did like last year, you know? So I can't charge the same. Because that's the thing, you know, this is something related to something else probably, but it's like, how do you charge per day, per hour, per project? It depends, right? Some people say this, some people say that. I think it depends. I don't know, whatever works better for you. But yeah, I was just relating it to this because it has to do with the amount of effort and time it takes from you and the reward you get for it. So yeah, I don't know.
When there's no incentive, there's no point in doing
exactly
someone else's vision, you know?
Like you feel fulfilled because of the opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work it out, you work it off, but then in the end, you're like, there's something missing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just
my money. Like, my money, Lebowski.
The worker relationship, it's goes both ways, you know. So like, if at some point they don't feel like your art is achieving what they want, they will not think twice about firing you or letting you go. So if at some point you also think that the value stopped being there and you don't get the value that you wanted to anymore from
it's an exchange of value.
That relationship.
That's where being a good person comes in.
Yeah.
So they keep you on longer.
Yeah, dude, but that's the thing, right? Like, if you are not getting the value that you wanted to anymore, then it's okay for you to come to them and say, hey, like, things changed and I improved. I think I deserved like either more money or like a promotion, or like be aware that you can change how your relationship with your employers go as well. You know, like you can. I'm not saying for you to be a jerk. Of course, like you need to be reasonable about things and you treat people with respect, but don't be afraid to speak in your mind as well. As long as you are doing that respectfully and you don't come to them like you devalue what they're giving you, I think it will be very easy to come to agreements when it comes to like how much value I'm giving versus how much value I'm getting out of each job.
Dude, this is something I wanted to say. It's something I heard on a podcast with Adrian Virlan. Like, it's a pretty recent one. I forgot the channel name, but he basically said that you got to ask for it, man. You can't just stay silent and expect things to be given to you, right? And it resonated pretty much with me a lot. You know, I liked that quote a lot because it's so real. It's like, you can't complain if you're not doing anything for it, right? And sometimes it just takes to just ask for it. Like you said, Andre, you know, like, hey, guys, I think we should talk because things changed, you know? I think this works better this way for both of us, and it's somehow unbalanced right now. No, maybe we should just talk about it. And maybe they just say, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's okay. It's done. Like, what? That was it? Okay. Yeah. So that's all it takes, Sometimes it doesn't work, but
on my previous job,
you'll never know if you don't ask for it.
Happen. Like, I got this job offer, and I will not go into specifics so I don't expose people, but I got this job proposal, and like I looked at the specification and everything, and like I thought, like, okay, I'm offering a lot, they expect a lot of me, and I'm offering a lot of value, so maybe I can ask a couple of things more, and I'll try like to make them know that what's important to me is something that they can offer, and that will not impact their side of the deal as much. So it's like, I went to the interview with the mindset of saying, hey, like, I'm making you sort of a favor, in order to get this job, because it was really out of my way. It was really not paying that much. Like, it was a decent salary, but not paying that much. But then, like, because they knew that, and I knew that was what they could offer, I could ask for like some extra comfort.
Yeah, at least you could get like some my own hours, fair reward, right?
Yeah, and because like once you get the job, you really do it and do it well, and you are like making your part of the deal fair, right? You are giving them what they need and what they want, and sometimes even more than what you initially thought you would need to. Then like the fact that they gave you one, or like paid a little bit more, or they gave you one or two comfort extras, or maybe put you in a position that you asked for instead of what they initially offered you, like that will be like completely not impactful to them. Like, I don't say the words exactly right, because but you get the feeling, right?
We get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does that have anything to do with feeling left behind? Because that's the next question. What do you think about this question? Feeling left behind.
Okay, let's try to tie them up.
It's okay. I mean, we can leave this as a separate topic from the others, but
I mean, we have to kind of clarify what the meaning of this is, because it could be interpreted in many ways. Like, could it be like you being left behind because you want to charge for your work, and it's like, man,
from what I've seen,
your work is too expensive, man. Like, I'm leaving you behind, man.
It's
moving on.
Mostly artists who are not feeling like they're not catching up to the artists that are ahead of them. That's what it feels like, what I've seen.
Then we can end it up right now. Like, you're never gonna catch up.
Yeah,
they're way ahead.
Not even like arts that are ahead, but maybe you watched a peer over the internet that like started the same time as you, and now like he has a nice job and you don't. So maybe you feel left behind that way.
I had that sensation a lot of times.
I've seen that happen, and that happened to me where I was watching people that I thought were pretty much on the same level as I was, and they were starting to get jobs much sooner than I did, and so. Like, if that happens to you, like, I don't know how to properly tell people how to navigate that feeling, because it probably will happen. There's no way. And it will probably happen to other people when they look at you as well. There are probably people out there that start at the same time as you, and they feel left behind when they look at your progress.
Yeah, because everyone's breakthrough is different. You'll reach a certain point where opportunities will just come to you. Like, sometimes it's a little bit of luck, sometimes it's a bit of how much work you put in, so how much time you're putting into whatever it is you're trying to reach, like your goal. Then you're going to get a greater outcome faster, or if you're just hyper focusing on something, whereas someone might party all the time or whatever.
Exactly, dude. What I wanted to say when I said you're never gonna catch up, it's obviously referring to you comparing yourself to, I don't know, masters, right? People who are 20 years into the industry, like you're physically 20 years away from them, right? So if they keep going and you keep going, you're never going to catch up. But if we talk about people who started at the same time as you did, then, well, you got to take into account the circumstances of each of you, right? Like people who are looking back to younger people who are like way ahead in their careers, like they're super successful, and they're like, dude, he's so young. How can he pull it off so early? Dude, maybe he had some different circumstances, right? He had
Talking
different
about
stuff.
That, right?
Dude, I didn't know he was so young. Honestly.
Yeah, he's like
he's
very
fucking
young.
24, dude. Holy moly. Yeah. And well, that's amazing.
A lot of other.
That's amazing. It's a whole lot of other young artists who are absolutely killing it at 20 something, right? In their early 20s. Yeah. But you have to understand, man, that it's probably different. They might have done something different than you, and you might do something different than them. So, you know, it works in different ways for each of us, I guess. That's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah. And that's honestly really inspiring. I know for some young people, jealousy can kind of set in a little bit. And it's important not to have that mindset. It's important to have a mindset of they're at that spot, but I can reach that spot eventually if I just work on my own stuff. I might have to work a little bit harder. And that's
kind of
okay
like a healthy envy, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you're aware of the situation.
Yeah, I think the negative sentiment will come by your mind at some point, right? But it's very important that you are aware when it comes, that you are like, okay, so I will not let this thought control my mind and like let it be negative. I will turn my negative thinking into positive one.
Exactly,
get a positive outcome out of
that's
that.
what I'm talking about. You're not like, it's so unfair, they're so good, you know, why are they so good? Dude, you can be that good as well if you put in the work like they did, right?
Yeah.
But that's the hard part. That's the hardest part. It's like a long-term journey.
I just wanted to tell people that when you feel let down, like, or feel left behind, or anything that you feel that is not positive for you, keep in your mind that you have the ability to change that train of thought midway, and then you have the power to like steer your mind towards something positive every time, you know. So like if you're seeing someone that's much more ahead than you and you don't feel like you will ever catch up, realize that they have a much more experience than you have. So maybe when you reach that age or that level, you'll be a different artist with a different mindset, and let that inspire you. If you see someone that's younger than you and has accomplished much more, let that inspire you as well. Because you can, like when I see someone that's younger than me and they are very successful, what I think is, look, they had less time than me, so probably I can do much more with the time that I have, and I could achieve much more in less time that I think that I can. So it's like, okay, if I put my mind to it, maybe I'll achieve the same level of success in my own career, maybe with different goals, but success as well.
Again, I think it's a matter of mindset, right? The way you take things. So if you try to control everything, it'll lead to a lot of stress, anxiety, and unhappiness.
It's hard for everybody. It's hard for me to look at you and not feel left behind as well. You know, like when I see your guys' art and I think, oh my God, they're so damn good. What the hell?
It's because we're doing different kinds of art. So it's,
Thanks, man.
It's not all the same, but appreciate it.
Yeah. I think we all feel like that with everyone.
On camera, so.
Like there sure is something you see someone else doing that you wish you could do as well, right? But then you're like looking at your work and realizing how different is what you, for instance, you do amazing vehicle design, right? I don't do that. But I look at it and I'm like, damn, dude, like for sure, man, your cars, like the recent ones you posted, I'm like, dude, I'm driving this in in Cyberpunk 2077, right?
I
And
wish,
then
dude, I
he
wish.
was like, dude, they're gonna think I worked on the game. You could,
you gotta
man.
be
You
aware
could
of
definitely be
your
working on
comments,
that game.
especially after like they went through some copyright issues. I think the guys from Cyberpunk, right? I've heard some controversy around the
Really?
marketing images
I don't know
that
anything
they
about
had. So I
that.
was like, damn, dude. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know exactly what happened, but like
I
there
have
was
no
some sort
idea.
of issue.
No idea.
Yeah.
But anyway, your cars. It's like you look at
Thanks,
your
dude.
work
Thanks.
and it's like, damn, dude, this is awesome,
Yeah,
right?
dude.
But it's like the same way I feel, for instance, about, stylized art, like World of Warcraft or Overwatch or games like these, right? Which is stunning, stunning art, right? But then I feel like I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it that way, right? I enjoy seeing other people working like that, but it's like when it comes down to me doing it, it's like I can't do it because I don't feel it. I like to do something else, something different. So I guess there's always this point of comparison, like healthy comparison, right? It's like respectful comparison. And I think that's all that matters. If you're aware of your situation and everything, you won't feel like, like left behind, because we all have like our own journeys. We're all have your
We should
own.
all become splash artists.
Dude, much respect to
Okay,
those guys.
so I will retire
Holy
now.
shit,
Like I think I'll work on a supermarket or something.
that's
I don't know,
dude.
liquor store. I'll find another job. Don't worry. I work in construction.
When I don't know how many hours do you guys devote to one image only, right? But
More than I should. It's the answer.
when I hear people saying like, "Oh, this was like 40 hours, 50 hours," I'm like, "Damn, dude." Like that's, for me, it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot of time. I think speed painting videos have this, effect that make you think. They make you think that you have to be fast, so you focus on the speed rather than on the quality. And I like it because this is something I got from Anthony Jones, for instance. He paints really fast, right? And he paints really good. But then he also said, like, I wasn't like this at the beginning. This takes time. I wasn't focusing on being fast. I was focusing on being good. And then speed comes with practice and all of that. So, yeah, I don't
To
think...
be honest, Okay, finish your thought then.
No, I was just going to say that they might be two different things. Splash art is more illustration related, right? You usually have more time, I'd like to think, rather than concept art, which is something more focused on production times and stuff like that. Like it has to be done quick and it has to be on top quality and stuff like that, but not top quality from the perspective of like an illustration, but from the design point of view, like understandable, like to communicate the idea and stuff like that. So, yeah. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't become splash artists.
I think that this whole
wouldn't wanna
subject can be
We will.
its own podcast. Like the idea of speed versus quality versus illustration and concept art. I think we can spend like a whole 2 hours talking about that.
Okay,
It's very
and that's going to be the next
It's very
episode.
like. Oh,
We've got time. We've got time, man.
Yeah, but I think to say it shortly, I think
Yeah.
we should really focus more. We should slow down more. I think it's important to really focus on the quality. Then, the quantity and speed comes later with practice. But yeah, I see a lot of young artists wanting to get into speed and just doing a quick 30-minute speed painting, but at the end of the day, it's like, is that just for you, or are you bringing value to someone else?
Exactly.
Like, want to focus more on bringing value to people and taking time with the work and putting myself into it than like doing 30-minute speed painting to show off or something.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever.
Man, social media has done so much damage.
Yeah.
in many ways, dude. Not only in art. Don't worry.
In many ways.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you have any other questions?
yeah.
Like,
The
I
next
think we could-
question. The next question is, how do you handle critics, especially when it could stray away from your comfort style or technique?
You just block them on Instagram.
And that's it, right? And you forget about it. You throw the phone away and you walk
That's
away,
the easiest
right?
one, yeah.
Yeah, you put your phone down like the drain,
Yeah.
Flush your problems away.
This is pretty related to what we talked about I think it was the first question or the second one, I forgot. But we mentioned the thick skin, the not taking it personally. This is about your work. Probably this guy giving you feedback doesn't even know you, right? So he's being as honest as he can. And yeah, they have nothing against you, right? You just ask them about your... They better not have anything against me.
Better not.
They better not, man.
Well, that's the way I see it.
What's the quote? Like, I'll hunt you, I'll find you.
Oh, yeah, the Taken guy, right?
The Taken quote.
I will find you, and I will kill you.
Dude, your impersonation is actually good.
Nice, man.
I think
Go.
Go ahead.
No, you go first.
I feel like I'm talking way too much on this one.
It's okay.
But
you talked not so much in the previous one, so you're kind of coming
I'm
back.
overcompensating that. It's just
That's good. So what do you think?
The way that you should handle it. I think that no matter where the criticism comes from, you should take it with a grain of salt, as Dom said earlier, right? So that's the thing, right? If you have a clear mind of what your goals are, then it will be much easier to separate what's useful criticism and what's not. But I would say that there is no criticism that you should follow 100% of the way, and there is none that you should disconsider 100%. There's always something that you can extract from the criticism. So even if something that you think it's not aligned with your objectives, try to think where that person came from in terms of their point of view, and extract value from it. Because if they took the time to leave a comment or to leave a criticism without even you asking them, it's because they care at least a little bit about what you're doing. And I hope so, that they're trying to help you out. And
I think you also have to be able to distinguish...
Even if they're trying to just bash you and make you feel bad, you can extract some value.
You have to distinguish between
fall flat to their face because they're trying.
Pure hate, right? Like hate comments, like your anatomy sucks, or something like that. I mean, even those comments can be kind of enlightening. It's like, why does this guy think this, right? But you have to understand who that other person is and what they do and how far they are in their careers, right? And you just take a look at their work, and then you kind of understand, right? Oh, maybe he's learning as well. He just figured some problem out. He found a solution, and he saw me doing the same thing, and he's probably angry at me because I made the same mistake as he did. But now it's like he's mad because now he knows how to solve it, and I don't. And maybe they don't have the communication skills to kind of convey that idea, and they're just throwing it at you, like, you suck.
Yeah.
You suck.
I think there's a way to say criticism, because in order to help somebody, but because I think you should...
That has to do with being nice, what we said earlier, right?
Yeah. Take in mind, someone's... how someone reacts to things is important to giving criticism. Like when I'm teaching my student, for example, I don't just say, your work is trash. Like you should never start art or never be an artist or anything. But instead I just say, I suggest, you add this to your environment or character or whatever, and maybe push this a little bit more and fix
maybe
this.
Stop being bad as well. For a change, please come on.
Yeah, because I know some people are pretty sensitive to these things, and sometimes criticism can make people quit art entirely. And that's a reality for some people. And you want to make sure that you're communicating in a way that's positive but also affirmative at the same time. Did we lose Andre?
Yeah, you guys just swap places on my screen.
Yeah, my whole screen's up.
He disconnected for a while. Hope he's coming back though.
Is that what happened to me?
Okay, he's back. Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry,
my
guys.
screen didn't flicker like that. I don't know. You'll see the video later. Okay, now he's back on his place.
Okay.
So yeah, just keep
Yeah, I
going.
was tired of listening to Dom like talk about his students, so I just left it.
Quick break, quick nap.
Like he was way too nice with them, and I thought it was not worth it. Keep listening.
He took a 5 seconds power nap.
Yeah, we're definitely using Adrian's footage for this. I'm not gonna use mine.
It's okay. Where were we? I think I lost.
I was just talking about like understanding the person you're critiquing, because I know some people can be sensitive about things, so you have to like really be in their shoes, how they're feeling about certain things. So, you know, just be a good person to somebody else. Like don't be an asshole.
But
Yeah,
dude,
I remember like I was
in
thinking
general.
while
Yeah, I don't think it's pretty easy to be kind and be nice and say things in a nice way, right? Like,
yeah, you're saying like this because you are nice. The person
No.
who is not nice, they like don't have that
the
mentality.
person
That's
who's
why they're
not
not
nice, it simply won't make many friends, because I don't think if someone comes at me and straight up says bad stuff about my art without any kind of explanation, why do I want to kind of reply or have anything to do with that person anymore, right? So next time I see his art or anything about this person, right, I'm going to remember that moment and I'm going to say, dude, this guy is not nice, you know? I don't think I want to be around this guy. I don't want to have anything to do with him. Because you never know, dudes. The world is so small. You might end up working together someday. You don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I get criticism from teachers too. You know, I think some teachers at my college, for example, I don't want to say any names, but I know some teachers can be really like almost too harsh, almost too negative on their students, and it really affects like their students' outcome. Whereas I don't give critique unless someone asks for it, and sometimes a teacher will just like shoot down your work, but the teacher might not be as good of an artist as someone else. You know?
I wonder if they're aware
So
of that when they do that, when they give those harsh critiques. I wonder if they're
Yeah.
aware of how harsh the stuff they say
and it can
is.
be like an ego thing, you know? Like
Mhm.
they think, oh, I'm like so good, I can critique this person's work without
Yeah.
any reparations or whatever. So it's like you have to like watch out for
I
those
see.
kinds of people who just like really try to tear your work apart, but they're not even at the level that they should be themselves, you know? So it's like
Yeah, I think the one advice that can extract from that, like, don't give criticism unless someone asks you to, because
Yeah.
the thing is, they might need the advice. Like, you might look at somebody and say, "Hey, maybe they could use some advice," you know. And if you're really worried about the art and you really want them to know what you're thinking is and what they could improve upon, maybe send them a DM asking if they want some feedback, because you can give them a piece of advice and everything, and be nice to them and let them be open to that before you shoot out a critique, right? And steer that into a motivational kind of way instead of a purely bashing down.
I think that an artist can grow more and learn more if they can critique themselves. Also, like self-critiquing is really important, because I had to do that for a while for myself when I started out, just really being super hard on my work, not myself, but just bashing my own work until I got it right or to where I needed it to be. And your self-improvement is more tenfold when you do that than always asking for help, always asking for a critique, because that also goes with self-improvement of yourself. You know, you have to find a way to navigate through that those hurdles and challenges and stuff.
I find these online groups on Facebook, for instance, pretty helpful. where they're just designed for that, for feedback. You know, you just post your work in progress or your finished images, and you just ask for, hey guys, can you give any critique on this, any feedback? And it's surprising, man, how many different opinions would arise there, from this is awesome, don't do anything else to it, from, you know, to something like, I would entirely change the whole thing. You know,
start over.
Yeah.
You should not be an artist. Get out of here.
And that's
that
where,
happens, honestly.
Yeah,
sometimes.
but that's where you learn how to take those critiques, right? The criticism. You're like learning which one to follow, which one not to really mind. You never posted anything like that?
I don't think that I ever did that. Like posting on a group or something like that, asking feedback.
Yeah, I never did either.
Because the way that I used my social media was pretty much like me posting stuff, and whoever wanted to give me critique, like it was there.
Hey guys, I just did this, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I don't know, like maybe I was wrong, you know. Maybe that was it slowed me down. I had no idea, but that's how I did.
But sometimes if you don't ask for it, they just say, you know, compliments and stuff. They just say, nice work, man.
Oh, yeah.
Well done. Even though then, in their minds, there's like something like, this could be a little bit better, but I'm not going to say anything. They didn't ask for it.
Yeah, but the people that I really wanted to give me feedback, I would shoot them. I DM and say, hey, look at this. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, because then I can select people that I really want the opinion from.
Yeah.
Because let's say that I post on a
you create like this circle of feedback of friends. It's like a trusted circle of friends where you send like your work. Because I've heard many people do that. You know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, do you know any group of people that are really good friends and artists?
No idea.
Help each other out? I have a very hard time thinking about it, you know. Like, I don't know any like real nice artists.
I don't know anyone either. I don't know. I'm constantly searching.
Yeah, I used to hang out with these two like weird dudes for a while, but like now I'm trying to find another.
I've heard they're onto something on YouTube or something now. I don't know.
Oh my god. Is this the last question? Because I think we're starting to like steer away too much.
This is the last one, guys. This is the last one. Yeah. So, well, it's been a
good Q&A.
Yeah, it's been a fun one. It's been a long one as well.
It's hard to keep on the subject, right?
Dude, it's probably because we take like 30 minutes per question. We don't worry, guys. We'll optimize we'll optimize the entire process in the next one.
Actually, like that's a good opportunity, you know. Like if you watch it so far and you think that's like way too long, let us know your thoughts, because we are kind of I think it's fair to say that we're kind of figuring out how much time we want to spend on and what people really enjoy. So any feedback that you have, like we are not posting this on Facebook, but you can comment down below and tell us what you think.
Yeah, please let us know your thoughts and everything. And well, we don't have like a specific amount of time for each of these episodes. I don't know. It can last for 1 hour. It can last for 2 hours. It depends really on the topic, I guess. Because as you can see, we get carried away pretty easily, which is a good thing, you know. But it might end up, you know, making our videos last for like too long. So but anyway,
I think some people might want more direct answers. So
yeah, we'll
make those short
work on it.
No, next.
We'll work on it for sure. But yeah, this has been pretty much it, I guess.
Cool.
We just hope to see you guys in the next episode. And as my friend said, just please let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, in the comment section. And subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one. And well, yeah, just have a good one.